What's going on, Wes?
You ever have a feeling, Brian, like you're forgetting to do something and you just can't remember what it is?
Are we talking about starting the show?
Yeah.
What have you forgotten to do?
That's the question.
Oh,
I don't
shit,
know.
right,
I feel like there's something I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Okay.
Oh God, my kids are at the airport. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just feel like there's something I need to do, and it's just escaping me for some reason. I think it's because I'm tired. I've been very busy, Brian.
If at any point during this show you forget and it's important, you may go.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I will not keep you here.
Show? You mean there's a show?
Yeah, there is a show. There's a show. Although I don't know if there's a show because over on YouTube it's saying no data, which I don't think is a good thing.
No, if it says no data, then nobody's hearing this right now.
Oh, now it says excellent connection. So it's one or the other. I don't know. Everybody, did you hear me talk about no data in the chat? Tell me, and let's get the show started because whether it's working or it's not, we just have to do this thing. Let's go.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Noted, no data means nothing, Wes. This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. And for all of you who like to take in pleasure orally. Yeah, I just winked. I winked for the oral listeners. Then we put this up on podcast services of your choice. Thanks to our good friend Rypop. And don't forget, timestamps come to this thing after the fact. Thanks to our good friend Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry. I should note, I keep forgetting to remove the ads. YouTube keeps putting 100 ads into this thing. And so if you've been getting ads, I promise you, I need to make it part of my daily routine where after Gamescast, I sit around for 2 hours and wait for the thing to render up, put the ads in, and then go in and remove them. It's a problem. I don't know why. Not everybody seems to be having this problem, like Wes. But my name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole. And this gentleman over here to my left, your right, it's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers.
What's up, man? Yeah, no, I feel like I set my ad settings one time, and it just stayed that way. Amazingly, it works. We do only skippable ads, and we only do them before and after, never during the body of the episode. And I mean, I guess that works. It's not like I'm going back and checking, but nobody's complaining, so I assume that it works.
I only found out because people complained, and I feel awful because it seems like I'm trying to pull one over on them. I'm like, oh, I promise I'll fix it, and then like I forget every episode. So yeah, no, everything was fine until it wasn't, Wes. So I don't know what the deal is.
Who knows?
Yeah. Guys, a couple different things to take care of here before we really get the show rolling. We want to make sure that you click the links in the description below. Most importantly, join Wes and his friends over on Virtual Strangers, where they talk about not just PlayStation VR2, but also good platforms like PC VR and Quest 2. That's the narrative of the day, at least. Oh, more fucking PSVR2 garbage. I didn't pay $500 for this piece of fucking cheese. That's all I've heard all day. And Wes, I hear them. And I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too, man. I am so tired. But
it's not that we don't agree with you, by the way. It's just that it's a lot. So
it is, and it's hard to constantly try to be the voice of reason, right? It would be so much easier just to join in the with the pitchforks and the bonfire and the whole thing, torches.
I've always wanted to burn something down. I don't know. Jim Ryan's probably going to have a flammable. Anyway, we should probably, after you subscribe to Virtual Strangers, click on the link for our Discord. That's where these conversations happen 24/7. And trust me, they've been happening all 24/7 for the last 24/1. The general chat on our Discord is out of control. They're not happy. But we're going to get to all that in just a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And for being reasonable and not angry. Because I'm very empathic. They call me Diana Troy sometimes. They say, Brian, you just suck up all of our feelings and you look amazing in a unitard. That's what they say to me. No, they don't.
Yeah, I heard them. I don't quite understand the words or who that person is, but
have you never seen Star Trek Next Generation? What?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of sport. I wasn't like a huge fan of it, but yeah,
I think it's Deanna Troy, not Diana. I don't know what's going on. So.
Okay, yeah. Fine. I don't know who that person is, but yeah, I know who Data is, and I know who Lamar Burton is, and yeah,
and you know who Will Riker is. You know,
I do. I know he's got a glorious beard. I do.
He does. He does.
He did.
Yeah, Deanna Troy is just like the ship's counselor, and actually Riker dated her on and off for the better part of.
Oh, it's a lady. That explains it.
Yeah, which is why she looks good in a. You know what? Tornado's going to take over for the rest of the show, you guys. Oh God. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is how today's gone, and this is how today will continue to go. So thank you again for everybody for being here. Shout out to Jim Perona with a $2 tip before the show even started. It says for a past Bushido blade reference from Brian. I was actually talking to JP over on Discord, and I mentioned I sort of quoted my own Broken Edge review because I do mention Bushido blade, and he got all tickled about that. So that review will be coming out tomorrow morning, I think. Sorry for the delay on it. The last 24 hours. Has been fucking nutso in my personal life. Professor Lilith with the $5 tip. Everybody pay attention to this one. This is important. Not that you shouldn't have paid attention to JP. You should definitely pay attention to PL. Professor Lilith says with the $5 tip, the Sunday multiplayer survey is now posted on Discord. Choose Alvo, Crisis Brigade 2, or Walkabout Mini Golf. Spoilers. I think I know which one's going to win. If you guys don't know, every Sunday, the cats vote on which game they want to play, and they get together and play games that are probably sitting in your library that are not getting enough appreciation. Multiplayer games, very seldom, have a huge player base, especially after a few days. So this is your chance to get back into those games and play them with a bunch of cool cats. Wes, I'm tired of talking. What's going on over on Virtual Strangers these days?
Man, I don't know. We're just playing games. I'm actually going to a rock show this weekend, so I'm really not even sure what my schedule is going to be. I'm sure we'll be talking about Hellsweeper this week whenever we do decide to go live, whether that be Friday or Sunday. And see, what else was it? I think we're going to check out events at Unity Farm, which hits Steam this weekend and is confirmed to be coming to PlayStation VR2 at a later time. I don't know. There's other stuff out this week. Ruins Magus comes out this week. We might look at that. We've been playing Broken Edge, as you know. We might talk about that. Just games coming left and right, Brian, as we ramp up on our journey toward and through October, which is going to be amazing, hopefully.
Ruins Magus. Ruins Magus. How I loved thee for moments. and then no longer. Yeah. The game definitely has a great first impression. Ruins Magus was I really thought it was going to do something for me. I was rocking a 7 out of 10 for that game for the first few hours, and then steadily downhill after that.
Yeah, I liked it, but I played it for about 5 or 6 hours, and I did not finish it. So maybe I didn't play it long enough for it to wear out its welcome. I enjoyed what I played of it.
I feel like you got far enough where if the things that bothered me, they would have bothered you by then. So I think we just have different opinions on it is all, which is fine.
Yeah, it's very possible. It happens.
Never happened before. People are still mad about After the Fall.
Yeah, I like After the Fall. I played it the other day. Had a blast.
Yeah,
it was good.
I played the launch PSVR2. Check out the haptics and the graphics, and man, they nailed the haptics and the graphics. EE Transmit with the €6 says here, buy yourself some Tinder Superlikes.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Thank you.
I'd swipe right on EE Transmit. guess. I've only super liked once, and it was accidental. I was like, oops.
Hopefully they can let you, fix that. Or is it one of these things like Twitter, where if you want to do something meaningful, you have to pay for it?
Yeah, if you want to do something meaningful, you have to pay for it. On the one time I ever super liked somebody's, because I was trying to close the app, right? Because on the iPhone 10 or whatever, you like swipe up from the bottom of the screen, and I just didn't hit the bottom of the screen properly, so I hit the profile and swiped up, and I was like, "Oh no!" that led to a conversation.
It must not have been a very comfortable one either. Like, oh, no, I didn't really mean to do that.
Exactly.
I'm sure you're great, but
Yeah, you get like one free super like or something, and I used it on accident. Chrome Colossus with the $2 tip says, "Is today a good day to play Switchback?" I think every day is a good day to play Switchback. I would still, if you haven't bought Switchback yet, those guys are hinting at more content. They are not done with Switchback, and I am excited for the future of that game. Because, dude, that was their first horror game. I'm so excited for them to like lean more into horror if they put out more content for it. There's so much they could do. There's so much they could do. Yeah, and I'm just gonna play some Switchback footage because I was tired of that other trailer.
No, it was just nominated too for some kind of an award.
Yeah.
Don't ask me which one, but I saw them on social media. Super excited for it. So congratulations to them on that. It's a great game. I enjoy it thoroughly.
Are you super massively excited?
Yeah, super massively excited, Brian. That's right.
Sorry. My apologies.
Did you see the excitement flowing through me?
Yeah. This is just the vibe of the day, isn't it? It's just like how laid back in this show gets until we just pull out pillows and take a nap together.
I have a feeling by the time we get to the meat of the conversation, we might be a little more animated. Yeah. But only time will tell.
Only time will tell. All right, man. Let's. I meant to ask you which game do you think is going to be the Sunday multiplayer? Alvo, Crisis Brigade, or Walkabout?
I mean, Alvo's new. It's a new game and it's fun. I had a blast. We played it last Friday, and I had a blast until I accidentally left the lobby as the host, and then I couldn't get back in because there was server issues on like Microsoft's, like the host server was all messed up or whatever. So I wanted to get back in. But prior to that, we had a blast for about an hour just playing Hardpoint, which is great. Which one will win? I don't know. Walkabout's pretty popular. So I guess it just depends on who's down to play. But I don't think it'll be Crisis Brigade. I think it'll either be Alvo or it'll be Walkabout. And I think you can't go wrong with either.
Yeah, no offense to Crisis Brigade. I played the update and it's beautiful. Like I think it looks great. It's running at high resolution, high frame rate. But you only need one other person to play that, so it's always easy to do that if you wanted to. Walkabout, you being able to play with like 7 other people, and Alvo being able to play with 9 other people, basically. Like,
right.
I feel like you take advantage of a Sunday multiplayer by picking those games. Walkabout, always my choice, always.
Yeah. Plus, if I'm going to play Crisis Brigade, I'm just going to go play Crossfire.
Dude, honestly. That's what I thought. I thought Crisis Brigade had like, this game's no longer relevant now that we have Crossfire. But dude, it does kind of scratch a slightly different itch. And once I was in there, I was like, oh no, this is great. I mean, especially if you've got good knees.
I'd like to hear what those people said. All the Crossfire naysayers. I've been waiting on their Crisis Brigade reviews, and apparently no one feels the need to put an opinion out there on it. So interesting.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but Project Louisiana, the Bounds, put out a new press kit yesterday, and then again today with new pictures and new video of their game. I'll tell you, I've got so many thoughts about this game. I feel like it could be so good, but I absolutely hate that they sent us like 15 minutes of new footage, which I chopped down to about 7, just to make it a little more digestible for the show. And then they used click turning, and then they use teleportation, which again is fine. Like if that's your preference, if that's what you need to play, great. But if you're going to reveal 15 minutes of your game, get somebody in there that can play with full locomotion and smooth turning, because this looks awful. Like, and it looks good.
It's not
right. It looks good, but it looks bad.
It's not just that it looks awful, but the pessimists out there are going to say, they're going to see that and go, oh, so it's only click, turn, and teleport.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
When we know that's probably not the case.
It's definitely not the case. I made sure of it. And it actually, there's an option in this video showing that you can choose. And I double checked with them and I just said, hey, just want to make absolute sure here. Like, because why would you show it off this way? I couldn't even do a review this way because it doesn't properly showcase what the game looks like. Like when a few seconds ago, as they were walking behind the building, these shadows from the trees were all kind of like moving in different times, and those shadows were being cast on the wall and the ground around you. And I was like, this looks great. But as you're clicking through the environment, it doesn't look great. If you're like actually showing yourself walking through it, I think it would be like, wow, this actually looks really, really good. But instead you're like, oh yeah, it looks like a bunch of slides. So
right.
Yeah,
agree.
But it does look like a decent game though, and these guys are absolutely taking their time with it. I feel like we've been paying attention to this for the better part of 18 months or so. It seems like it's going to be a horror game, and as of right now, the puzzle mechanics look decent. I hope that they kind of clean up the inventory a little bit, because you just got these big light blue boxes sort of just in front of you, which is like, all right, that's fine, but I don't think those actually need to be there.
Yeah, there's a couple of telltale signs that this is an indie game, right?
Yeah,
and that's one of them. The UI in general kind of looks a bit generic, which is fine. Again, that's not a game breaking thing. It's not something that I would ever ding them on in a review or anything. It's just one of those things that kind of signifies to you that, hey, this is not a big budget thing. This is an indie game. Like it's a common thing to see things like this in games from smaller teams for whatever reason.
They need a backpack. Every game needs a backpack system.
Agree.
Yeah. So this is looking pretty decent. Sorry, sirens on my end. I will do my best to kind of chop this down even further, because there are more interior environments that they show off, more puzzle mechanics. I'll chop it down and do my best to kind of truncate this and kind of chop it all up and put it into PSVR this week, so that you can see, some of them.
Did they do any kind of like press release or fact sheet with the thing, or was it just hard assets that they sent out?
I just saw assets. It was screenshots and a couple new videos. And so I don't believe that they have any kind of release date or price or anything like that yet. I think they're still kind of slowly making their way through development. But
do you think they're still planning on, because last I heard on this game, they were planning on making it a PSVR1 game. Am I wrong about that?
You're not wrong about that. And like a lot of other developers, I think they realized that the development took a lot longer than anticipated. And some platforms go out of fashion during that time. And PSVR1 has been out of fashion for the better part of 2.5 years now. Sorry to anybody out there who still is playing their PSVR1 or hasn't upgraded to PSVR2 yet, but it's still a fact. You're part of a very small minority, and we love you very much. Dude, the game that I'm curious about in kind of the same situation is Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, because Skydance is a fairly, their interactive division is bigger than it was, and it was still planning on a PSVR 1 version. Like, is it worth their time, their effort? They're probably just going to pay someone to port it. So yeah, I'm curious and becoming more dubious by the day that we're going to see that.
Yeah, I feel like if they're working on that right now, it's just because they're honest people and they said they would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they're wasting time and resources, given everything that they're working on. You know, Arashi and Behemoth. Um, I'd say it's probably pretty low on their priority list. But again, that they've always been, true to their word, and they said they would, and I don't think they want to go back on that. So,
True.
I think we'll get it. It might be 2025 before we see it, but I think it will come.
Well, Wes, we obviously have a lot to talk about today, so we should probably move on. One of the games that came out, Jesus, was it yesterday? I don't even know anymore, man. Broken Edge just came out. It's been on other platforms for a little bit, and finally made its way over to PSVR2, developed by Trey Boucher and published by, I believe, Fast Travel Games, right?
That's right.
You had already played this on other platforms. How do you feel about the PSVR2 port?
I think it is a straight port. I didn't really notice much difference. Now, there may be some difference in the haptics. I'm pretty confident that there probably is, but it wasn't terribly noticeable to me. I very much felt like the same game that I played on Quest before.
Yeah. This is the first time I'd played it. I'd sort of gotten your review and sort of everybody's review, and it has an extremely high rating on Steam. And so I was hoping for something that would be, I don't know, maybe my new addiction. Maybe I was asking for too much. 1v1 games have been hit or miss. We talked a little bit about Telefrag on Monday's episode, but I think that was just because I thought it was the 20 questions answer. So maybe we didn't talk about Telefrag very long. But 1v1 is a tough road to travel, I think. And you have to have a really, really, really polished, and it's going to be a formula that pulls you back in every single time you lose, every single time you win. It's going to give you that just one more time feeling, which I think is really hard in any 1v1 game. And I don't know if Trebuchet accomplished that here. I like it, but there's nothing pulling me in. You and I played a few online matches together, and after like 3 matches, I was like, all right, I think we've done this enough. And playing the campaign single player, I said, well, this is fine, but I probably would have given up if the last boss didn't take like 100 tries to beat. So it's, it's rocking at like a 6 out of 10 for me right now. It's sort of just like, it's fine, but I don't think it's extraordinary in any way whatsoever. And I think I was hoping for a little bit more with this.
Yeah, I think it's fine is a good description of it. It's not a bad game.
No.
It's okay. It's fun for a little while. It's good in short bursts. It does have some things going for it. I mean, it's a very unique concept. It's a fencing game. We don't have any fencing games in VR. And it does play like a fencing game. It's very much about where you can stick your tip, Brian. So it has that going for it. It's fairly priced. I would say, it's only what, 10 or 15 bucks. It's absolutely worth that. There's a good variety here in terms of like the characters you get to choose, and they are notably different, every character. Where I feel like the disconnect comes in with this game is, all right, so we often talk on our channel about main course games versus palate cleanser games. And main course being a game that you can sit down and play for 2 or 3 hours at a time, and a palate cleanser being that game that you pick up for 20 to 30 minutes in between, just to play something different and kind of clear your head. This is a palate cleanser game with the progression system of a main course game. I think that's where the problem is. Like, there's a lot of different character types in this game, which is a good thing, and they all have their own progression, which also is a good thing. But the progression's kind of slow. You got to put some real time into leveling up each one of these character classes. And again, it's not a game you're going to want to play for 2 and 3 hours at a time. So like you're going to level up one character like one time, I feel like, every time that you play this game.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I don't feel like it draws you back in. I feel like if you were progressing a little bit more quickly, it may be a little bit more fun, and it may draw you in a little more often.
Yep.
So to speak.
I agree with you. Man, I feel like I could talk about Broken Edge all day. Luckily, the review, like I said, the review is coming out tomorrow morning. So, if you're curious about more details, you haven't picked this up yet. I've already kind of said it's like 6 out of 10. I'm flabbergasted. That is the only word I can think of off the top of my head. Flabbergasted by the resolution. Like this should be running at 4K, 120 FPS. Like why when I put the headset on, does it look like this? Some of the backgrounds are comically simple. All of the opponents are very basic looking. Whether you like the art style or not doesn't matter. It should be running at fucking 4K, and it's not. It has a very soft look to it. But I do like. Let me give a positive here with my negative. I do like the Street Fighter feel to it, where there are special moves. There are things that you need to learn. Every character has the same abilities, but every character executes them differently. And I really like that. So, you have to learn like different poses, and sometimes it's a kind of a 3-tiered stance where you do one, then another, and sometimes it's to power up your sword. Sometimes it's to once your sword is broken, you get to recharge it one more time. You get this one last sort of final effort, last ditch effort almost. And so there are these kind of different things to learn about each character, and it reminded me a little bit of being in the arcade when I was a kid and like being like, oh, how did you do Sub-Zero's freeze move? Yeah, it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
you're gonna learn that shit.
I feel like the one guy that loves this game so much that he knows how to do all the stuff for all the characters probably loves this game, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a lot to it. I don't know that I'll ever spend enough time in it to learn how to really enjoy it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But there's something there. Like I could tell, like if you really put and invested your time into learning this game and progressing the characters, learning all the different characters, I would probably have a lot more fun with it. I don't think I'll ever get there.
I agree. And at a certain point, you have to say, is this the kind of game I want to spend a lot of time with to get there? And if it's not, then you fall into category B, and that's not the category that Wes is talking about. So, anyway, that's Broken Edge. Is if you pre-order it was $10, it's now $15. I think $10 is a much better price for it. But what are you gonna do? Inflation.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of new characters over the other versions, or there were characters added throughout time, and now we've kind of got this complete version. And they all do play differently now if they have different weapons. Yeah,
when I played it before, it was just like 5 or 6 characters, and now there's 2 or 3 more than that. So yeah.
Danishing Act in the chat says, "Where's the Firewall review app? Been waiting for a while." Dude, I'm putting Firewall down. Like, don't make me do stuff. For real. Like, I was sick for a week, and I had a lot of time to reflect while I was sleeping. And I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. I'm still tired. And so I'm absolutely going to be taking Without Parole. I'm going to take ownership of Without Parole back from myself. I'm going to take it back from the guy who fucking worked around the clock for the last 6 years thinking that I would be somewhere different in 2023. And I'd be able to hire somebody, hire editors, because I kept fucking killing myself for years thinking that I'd be, if I just work really fucking hard, if I work 80 hours a week for, a couple years, then eventually I'll be in a place where I can hire somebody and like this won't be the rest of my life. And that's obviously not happening. So I'm taking control of Without Parole back from that fucking moron who was running it before, young Brian. And I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And so
we're going to have fun. That's what we're going to do, Brian. We're going to get back to having fun, which was the point all along anyway.
Yep.
And anybody that watches this channel and doesn't know what you think about Firewall isn't paying attention, right? It's Firewall. It's fun. It has issues. They're getting better every day. Yeah, everyone knows that. So.
Yep. And I'll review Firewall when I feel like Firewall's worth reviewing. Right now, it's I think Miles and myself and AJ, I think we're all kind of in the same boat. I don't know if you are too, Wes, where it's just like, you know what, like enough with the let's check after every single update and pray that it's, you know, really good. You know what? Let's give them a month. And just, you know, because if you bought it by now, then you already bought it. And if you didn't buy it by now, then fucking don't buy it. Like, let's just give them a month and come back to it and say, hey, did this end up working out for them? Yes, no, let's review it. I just don't. Yeah. I
think you kind of touched on something larger there too. Just don't fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Like we've been railing against, you know, all of the negativity in the space, for the last, I don't know, 6 weeks, 2 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't because there's no cause for negativity. It's just, I feel like a lot of that people, like, you know, a lot of people blow it out of proportion to try to punish or manipulate the development studios.
Yep.
Don't do that. Just don't fucking buy it. Don't pre-order anything and don't buy it until it's right. Vote with your dollar.
Yep. So, it's the outrage culture. And I feel, you know, I feel like everybody deserves a great game when it comes out. They do. You know, but like it's not like there's not a precedent that has been set. We are getting, the precedent has been set over and over and over and over again, and games are not coming out the way they should. Either there's a learning curve on PSVR2 that developers are not familiar with yet, or something else is happening. But it's going to take some time for all that to sort of level out. And so for the meantime, I would say just don't pre-order anything at all.
Yeah, I think it's safe. I think it's a safe bet these days. Yeah, especially on PSVR 2.
While it is now a GameCat, specifically a white tiger. Oh man, the voice is cracking. My voice is gone before the show started. With the Canadian $5 tip, says Sony's non-hybrid VR2 games seem limited in playing safe, with Call of the Mountains lackings and Firewall bad mechanics for mainstream appeal without marketing to mainstream. Bad mechanics for mainstream appeal. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. They want simple controls for Firewall. They want something that won't make people sick for Call of the Mountain. I think that there was a weird push there to market towards non-VR gamers. As Wes has said a million times, I think on this show, they're not competing with Meta or PC VR. They're marketing and trying to convince PlayStation 5 people to buy the PSVR 2. They're not looking outside of that ecosystem and saying, hey, if you own a Quest, come over here and get this instead. They don't give a fuck. They just want PS5 owners to buy it because there's a shit ton of those, right? Those people are already halfway in the door. Just pull them the rest of the way in. While he's now GameCat, specifically a white tiger with the Canadian $2 tip, says Firewall complicates basics. Should have learned from Alvo. Dude, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I agree with you. Like, Alvo is just fast and fluid and fun, and just kind of makes sense. The grenade shit doesn't make sense. Can we all agree on? No, apparent for whatever reason, we just need to take a grenade off of our belt and fucking throw it. I mean, Crossfire did it, right?
I gotta say,
yeah, I
kind of like the grenades in Alvo, and I'm not just saying that because, full disclosure, they're a client where I work at. And I've said this about Firewall. I said I like the grenade throwing in Firewall. I think I like it more in Alvo. What I like about it is the precision. You know, when you have just a regular VR grenade throw where you just throw it, it never goes where you want it to. The tracking or the throwing mechanics aren't quite perfect, and it never goes where you want it. Like one time out of 10, maybe. So what I like about games like Fireball and Alvo is you can really thread the needle with that fucking grenade, and I enjoy that about it.
I like Crossfire. Let me pull the fucking grenade off my belt. Sorry, Wes. I'm just basically just shooting you down. Let me pull the grenade off my belt, pull the pin, and throw it. I mean, come on, man. Nothing makes more sense than that, right? And don't get me wrong. Like I kind of got used to Ultra's system of eye tracking. I kind of, even though there's certain situations where it's impossible to make it work properly. And then I got used to Alvos, where it's like you aim with one hand and throw with the other, and it's like, oh yeah, well that works too. But you know, I like crossfires. Crossfire, this is how grenades work. You know, from all the grenades I've thrown throughout the course of my life, Wes, which has been millions.
And millions. No, yeah, I mean, it's fine in Crossfire. I feel like when I have like a regular grenade mechanic in a VR game, I typically have to throw it like shovel pass style, where I start at my chest and just kind of push it out to make it go where I want to, and it works pretty well in Crossfire. I don't like how the grenades are all on your arm, and you can grab the first two just fine, but the third one that's right on your elbow, sometimes it doesn't want to come off, and that can be annoying, especially in like a very tense situation where people are coming in on you and you got to kill them quickly, and now you can't grab your grenade. That can be frustrating. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine in Crossfire.
Time to play VR with the 2 quid says, Brian, you're awesome. Do you? Thank you very much. I'm trying my hardest. You know, I do things that are good for the channel. Like PSVR this week is good for the channel. Breaking news reports are good for the channel. Reviews are good for the channel. I don't want to make it sound like I'm just abandoning reviews, because as much as I love Gamescast, you know, the foundation of this channel has always been things like news videos and this week, and edited things like reviews. I'm just not going to kill myself over it, because I want to make sure that, you know, that I'm still doing this in a decade. Man Bear Pig Gamecat with the $2 tip says, Brian, Wes, do whatever makes you happy. Love you guys. Wes, in that case, I'm just going to shut this channel down. And I'm going to become a permanent guest on Virtual Strangers. Make Wes do all the work.
Yeah, boy, come on over.
Yeah.
Come on over. We got plenty of room. Quest 3 is about to come out. We got VR mods coming out. I looked at a mod for Doom Eternal today, man. Like, things are going well. Come on over to the dark side.
I love it. Love it. Dude, I'm absolutely buying a Quest 3. I mean, I've basically figured that out. And what are you going to do? Like, I thought I was out of the Meta ecosystem forever. I deleted my Facebook account because I was like, fuck you, I'm finally out. I got rid of my Quest 2, traded it for a backwards compatible PlayStation 3. I was like, what a great deal. And then Quest 3, I keep hearing great things about it. I'm like, I guess I'll pick one up too.
Yeah, good thing is you don't need that Facebook account anymore. You can just do what normal people do and register with an email account. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I got to create a Meta account, which is so radically different than Facebook.
Well, I mean, it's easier. It is easier to deal with now, and you don't have to worry about saying bad things about the president on Facebook and having all your VR games taken away. There's that. But yeah, no, it's easier now. It's easy to set up like secondary accounts now, because literally you go into your headset, say I want to put a secondary account on. It gives you like a number. You go to your computer screen, you punch the number in, and voila, it's on there magically.
Voila.
So it is better now than it used to be.
I feel like for some reason, I feel like you're speaking from firsthand experience. Did you say something about the president and get banned from Facebook?
No, but this was the worry. I mean, back when when Quest came out, you got to think, man. When Quest came out and got popular, and there was the Facebook requirement, people were worried because it was the heat of the pandemic. Like there was like all of this like political division. I mean, there's still a lot of division in our society, but it was at its heated peak during this time, and people were afraid to speak out on Facebook. And then when they were faced with, okay, I might lose my library of 100 games if I go on and type the word ivermectin in the Facebook, then yeah, there was a lot of paranoia around that. So it's good that you don't really have to worry about that anymore.
I'm so happy for everybody. Maxwell Ritt with the $2 tip says, too bad Hellsweeper's graphics are meh. Still playing. Perfect. We're about to talk about that. Man Bear Pig Gamecat with the $2 tip says, Wes, if you have a Quest Pro, would you get a Quest 3? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wouldn't have a Quest Pro. Right. Not because it's not good. It's expensive. It's very fucking expensive. But yeah, no, Quest 3 is going to be better in some significant ways. Namely, it's going to have higher resolution screens in it. And it's going to have high quality color pass through, and kind of the drive of this generation for Meta is going to be mixed reality stuff. So if you're going to, I've used the Quest Pro. The mixed reality is passable, but it's not good. It's very soft. It's very low res. Quest 3 is supposed to be way better, and not only because of the high resolution color cameras it has on it, but because it also has a depth sensor on it, which Quest Pro does not have. I think it's going to be a better platform. I really do. It's a shame that they decided to leave the eye tracking off, because we've seen on PSVR2 what a difference that can make.
Right.
But yeah, if I had a Quest Pro, I would definitely buy Quest 3. I would use my Quest Pro controllers with my Quest 3, and I think it's going to be an excellent next gen platform for sure.
And everything we're hearing about Quest 3, I hate to beat a dead horse. I mean, I know we've said this before, but everybody's talking about Quest 3 as if it's going to be this small incremental upgrade from Quest 2 horsepower wise, because of what they're seeing with the processing, the mobile chip. Everything we're hearing says it's going to be way closer to PSVR2 than not on the level, but way closer than most people expected, and that's going to be good for everybody across the board, I think.
Yeah, the Quest Pro has the same processor in it that Quest 2 has in it. It's configured differently because the RAM is not located on the same package as the processor, which allows for a little bit better heat dissipation, which allows for a little bit better performance. But you're getting a full next gen processor on Quest 3 that they're touting as twice the graphics processing power of Quest 2, which in recent months has been pretty impressive in its own right. They're doing a lot more with Quest 2 now than they did at first. But I'm hearing from developers that not only is the processing power more than doubled, but it does a much better job at a lot of back end stuff like post processing, this sort of stuff. So it's a much more capable device than Quest Pro or even Quest 2, from what I'm hearing. So I think it's going to be great for all VR. That the baseline of quality is getting such a significant jump, because I mean, I still expect a year and a half from now that people are still going to be talking about standalone holding us back, but it's not going to be as egregious as it is right now.
Yeah.
So
agreed. Yeah. I think you nailed it. All right, man. We got one more tip, and then we're going to get to the meat of today's show. Phil Pepe, the Gamecat 69 _420 _LOL JK WTF _Brian with the $5 tip says, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. That was wrong. Say my name. I don't even fucking know the song. That's all I remember of the song. You got anything to tell me out? Oh, shit. When no one is around, we say, Brian, we love you, and play some VR games. Mental health for the win. Don't fall out of love with VR. The great thing is that, before this channel became 100% PSVR, when PSVR came out, the channel was initially an everything channel. We covered all games, new games, old games, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. And now I don't do that. So when I need a recharge, I can go play some retro games, and it's a lot of fun because I don't have to think about covering it for the channel. So there's still a lot of non-work video games out there for me, and anybody who says Resident Evil Outbreak is bad, you and I are gonna have words, because I played that game for 2 hours last night when I couldn't sleep, and then I watched The Shawshank Redemption twice, Wes. Once with director commentary.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't sleep. I didn't fall asleep till the sun came up, so I had some time on my hands. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Super cool video, bro, which I always love that name. It says, any insider info, with $2 tip, I'm sorry. Any insider info about Valve or Nintendo VR?
I mean, I know a couple of things about Valve, but nothing specific, nothing I can talk about. You should be excited. With Nintendo VR, I would typically say no, I can't share anything. But since Eric already kind of said it on one of our episodes recently, I'll just say what he said, and that is that he was at Gamescom, or it was after Gamescom. He was at a developer event in Europe, and there was a Nintendo guy there who was quite inebriated. And this was before the Nintendo stuff leaked, by the way. Like, I heard about this. Nintendo VR is real, according to this guy. And there's apparently a Legend of Zelda game in development that's amazing. Again, the source was admittedly intoxicated. It could have been somebody talking shit. But for what it's worth, this is something that I heard about before the world was talking about Nintendo VR. So I think that does lend a little credibility to it.
It's going to be an optional thing. There's no way. Like I feel like Nintendo cannot do this without being the very definition of hybrid games. Their core system, the Switch 2, whatever it's going to be, has got to be able to play up on a 2D flat screen, and then you slide it into some kind of something or another, and then it becomes a VR headset, because they've just been focused on what the biggest, most popular, even casual audience would want, whether it be motion controls, and then the Switch would be like this portable thing, handheld console, all in one, and then to go to something that's as niche as VR, just there's no way that there's no way that their next console will be VR focused. It's just gonna be a VR option. That's where I stand on this, just because.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And if you would have asked me in previous months and years, I would have guessed the same thing. But I don't think that this is going to be something that they do instead of Switch. You know, if they do a standalone VR headset, it'll be something completely out of bounds. You know, much like they had, you know, they had their consoles, and then they had their standalones at one point. Like their handhelds were a different thing, a different platform, concurrent to what they were doing on their consoles. So I think it's possible both ways. I think it's notable that they are working reportedly with Google, and Google, for what it's worth, what they're best known for in VR is a device where you slide your phone into a thing and play VR. So yeah, you could be right, but I don't know yet.
Evolution of Google Cardboard.
Maybe. I hope not, because like Switch VR, the Labo was literally Google Cardboard, and it wasn't very good. So,
right, it's bad. Phil Pepe, the GameCat _69_42_LOLJKWTF_Brian with the $2 tip said, "This show is my favorite media. Period." Oh, dude, that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It also makes me go,
very nice.
Like, what's wrong with you? It's like you can't be right. No, I'm just kidding. Although the imposter syndrome will not allow me to take that to heart for some reason. Blazing Phoenix with the $10 tip says, just going to say I joined right before Miles. Oh, right before Miles said it's about where you stick your tip. Isn't this what you said? Are you Miles, Wes? All right, let me edit this. Just
Damn it, my cover is blown, Brian.
Oh, crikey.
Governor, I'm not Miles, Governor. No, I'm just kidding.
Just going to say I joined right before Wes said it's about where you stick your tip. And I'm like, oh yeah, those are words to live by. Just found it funny.
It was funny. We touched tips, Brian, when we were playing. No one knows it. It was a secret, but cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, I'll show it in the review. It's the expose heard around the world. All right, man. Enough dicking around. I think it's time for us to talk about some Hellsweeper. Hellsweeper is out tomorrow. Is that correct? Tomorrow on all platforms. And unfortunately. And so basically, I woke up this morning with a text from AJ saying Hellsweeper's out on the Australian store, and I said, "Well, time to download this thing and talk about it." So I think it's very, very important to say something before we get into the titular aspect of this, because the title of this video is "Don't Buy Hellsweeper VR on PlayStation VR2 Yet." And I want to make sure, we make it very clear. Hellsweeper seems like a fucking fun game. Like, I played it for 2 hours today, and I had a lot of fun. So let's get the nitty gritty out of the way, Wes. You played this on PC, and you played it on PSVR2. Talk to me about the differences.
Well, I mean, there are two noticeable differences. One being haptics. The haptics are notably better on PlayStation 2, as we expected that they would be. The other, even bigger difference is graphics, and the graphics are way better on Steam than they are on PlayStation VR2. They are. Well, I think you nailed it earlier today, Brian, when we were talking, and you said that it looks like a PSVR1 game because it looks like a PSVR1 game. And, I want to say that it's surprising, but we've seen this so many times recently that it's sad that it's not surprising. And I don't know why they decided just to launch it like this instead of delaying it and taking their time to give PSVR2 fans the version they deserve. But it very much is Green Hellsweeper VR. It's just like Green Hell was. It's a great game. It's not broken. It's fun to play. It's not unplayable because the graphics are low res.
Right.
But it should be better.
Yeah, it should definitely be better. It feels like, I don't think Sairento was the best looking game on PSVR1. In fact, I think it never looked terribly good. I thought all the arenas were pretty bland. And so I always thought despite the fact that game was really good, we got sort of a unimpressive looking port. I'll say that. And when I started this up, it kind of brought back all those memories. It certainly looks better than Sairento does. The environments look better. There's more variety to them. They just have a lot more detail in, but just overall the resolution needs a severe bump in it. And just so we're on the same page, Wes, you're saying that on PC VR. I mean, are we talking crystal clear?
Crystal clear. And then at that, I played it on my HP Reverb G2, which is about the same resolution as the PSVR2. It's a high resolution headset, and it played perfectly. I mean, it didn't even hiccup, and it was beautiful. I thought it was interesting that the file size on Steam was over twice the file size on PlayStation, which, a lot of that could be chopped up to different optimization and kind of different file structure. But I mean, typically they're in the same ballpark. Normally Steam games aren't twice the size of PSVR2 games if they're similar in quality, and they're just not. They're not similar in quality. It's so shimmery and dirty. I mean, it's literally like Green Hell was. It's just there's distortion everywhere outside of what's 2 feet in front of you. Like your hands, all the weapon models and stuff look pretty good on PlayStation VR2, but the environments are extremely dirty. The like skyboxes and things like that are very low res. Yeah. Now, for what it's worth, much like Green Hell, after I played it for about 30 minutes, I wasn't even thinking about the stuff anymore. I was just having fun with it. But again, it is there, and it is unfortunate that it's in the state that it's in.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with Mixed Realms and Vertigo Games. I feel as though it's not like this was a surprise to them. I feel like if they could have gotten out ahead of launch, because the game is officially out in Australia and will be out in the rest of the world momentarily. And I feel like if they got out ahead of launch and said, "Listen, we're the PSVR2 version is launching at a lower resolution than we'd prefer, but we promise here's a patch or our plan to get a patch out. Here's how long we think it's going to take. Here's a roadmap. Here's something." And just get out in front of it and say, "Listen, we're sorry in advance," but without saying that, and allowing people to pre-order it and allowing people to purchase it from the Australian store, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. The game for the most part plays fine, but this has been a problem with PSVR 2, and so now my question is, well, what's going to happen next month with the 7th guest? What's going to happen when Arizona Sunshine 2 comes out? I don't know how much of this comes down to Vertigo, the publishers, how much of it comes down to Mixed Realms developers, but it all comes down to money, obviously, because if it wasn't about money, they would have delayed it. Like, do you feel like this is in a condition where it should have been delayed on PSVR 2? Just release the other versions and delay this?
Yeah, one or the other. I mean, if they're not going to delay it, they need to be upfront about it and give a statement before launch. Because this isn't like Quest or Steam, where if you release something that's subpar, then people can just get a refund.
Right.
Sony doesn't let you get a refund. So it's extremely important that you're upfront with your customer base about what they're getting here, especially if you got something that is up for pre-order. And by them not, I mean, I'm sure they'll say something on it. People are going to be outraged, and they're going to put a statement out, and they're going to tell us that they're going to fix it, and they're going to tell us exactly when they're going to fix it, and that's all great. But they should be saying that now, not tomorrow, not next week, because once you buy this thing on PlayStation, then you own it, no matter what. And I think it's telling that no one's out there saying that the Quest version is blurry, because it's not. Right. You know, it's not as detailed, but it's not blurry. Much like Green Hell, if you go over to the Quest side of the fence, you're going to get something that has a decent resolution. And consequently, if it weren't that way, people could get a refund over there. So it's just weird. It seems like, and I'm not accusing them of doing this, but it seems like they're taking advantage of the fact that people can't get a refund here. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have delayed it if I were them. Sometimes I feel like maybe these studios are afraid of delaying, afraid that there's going to be a big like blowback and negative pushback against that. And that would have absolutely been the case a couple of years ago, but not anymore. Right. We've seen so many of these botched launches now that people actually appreciate when they delay their games now. So hopefully this message gets across to developers and they start doing the right thing and not launching their game until it's absolutely ready.
Yeah, I agree. It's just disappointing because there doesn't seem to be any reason for it whatsoever. I will say I didn't notice any reprojection, if that makes everyone feel better.
But would you have? I was thinking this when I was playing. It's like I don't see any reprojection, but would you notice motion blur if everything's blurry already? Probably not.
Good point. I don't know. I felt like with Hubris, Hubris was the game that sort of convinced me I should check out prescription lenses. And then when I got prescription lenses, because it is actually pretty sharp resolution wise. And then when I got prescription lenses, it cleared everything up kind of. And I was like, oh damn. So I have no idea. I'm wondering. I mean, I guess we could just ask the developers what frame rate it's running at, right? I mean, could it be running at 90 native in that my guess here, and this is the terrible guess. My guess is that at some point, developers are starting to get the message that like we'd really prefer games on PSVR2 to be running at 90 FPS rather than 60 reprojected to 120. And so maybe this was kind of this last ditch effort to get the frame rate to where people are asking for it to be, and then but because of that, they haven't had a chance to optimize it to run at the resolution they want to. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know, but
it's a good point. We should use this as an example too, to tell people, all those people out there that are super against going to 120 reprojected, that sometimes you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? Sometimes the price of running at native 90 is that instead of having motion blur, you have everything that's blurry.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is though, is that with a game like this, you should be able to have your cake and eat it too. These environments look decent. You can tell that when they're sharp, they're going to look nice, but they're not terribly large. There's not a whole lot going on here. This is exactly the type of game that should be able to run at 90 native at a super sharp resolution.
I agree. It's an arena. I guess for those of you out there who are curious and don't know what this game is, it is an arena-based roguelike game. It's all about replaying the same levels. There aren't a terribly large amount of levels. The rounds are pretty short. This isn't the largest game in terms of scope. What makes the game special is the gameplay. I feel like a lot of stuff that people were saying about Synapse, they're going to say about this game too. Is like it's not a lot of game. What it is it's special because the gameplay is extremely good.
Yeah,
and varied.
And so now that we've talked about the graphics, but you know what, I do want to talk about this game. I want to talk about what's good about it and how hopefully once we get a patch and everything kind of works itself out, if this is a game people are going to want to play. But we do have a lot of tips here in the chat, and so let's check in with the cats and see what they've got to say. Oh, super cool video, bros! Like this is from like our Switch conversation. With the $2 tip, he says Pimax Portal style VR for Switch 2. What? Fill me in. What's Pimax Portal?
It's exactly what you described Nintendo VR to be. It's so Pimax, which is a VR company that makes VR headsets.
Yeah, the huge one with the big FOV, right?
Yeah. They're releasing a flat handheld, and one of the uses of that handheld is that it can slide into a specially made VR headset for it, and now it's a VR headset. So,
Blazing Phoenix 82 with a $20 tip says, "Sorry, Wes, I can't believe I got your name wrong. What's your channel? I appreciate your experience more than Miles. Sorry about that."
Thank you,
man. I gotta love when the cats throw shade at different hosts. Click the link in the description below and join Wes's channel. It's Virtual Strangers. They talk about all things VR, not just PSVR2. Right. Greg Hodges with the level 1 membership says Firewall and Hellsweeper are why you don't pre-order. In Green Hell and Switchback and countless other games. That once upon a time VR kind of lived in this special little space where the numbers were so small, the community was so small, where if you released a game and it was broken, that was kind of it. You're going to be panned, and fixing it later was kind of pointless, even though a lot of people did. And now I think it's gotten big enough, and enough big corporations have gotten involved in the publishing side of things, where it just becomes 100% about money all over again. And I think we're falling into the same traps that a lot of the gaming industry is falling into, or has been falling into for the better part of the last decade or two. Ace Gamer Cats. What up, Ace Gamer Cats? With the $20 tip says, keep up the great work, gents. When will we be able to purchase a Gamecats hoodie with the new PSVR2 logo? Are you holding out until the old stock runs out? I'll pay double. Don't pay double. But it's just going to require me to get in there and get those new designs onto Teespring. But there's no stock because Teespring just prints to order. So no worries about that. I really wanted to have it done by now because the fall is obviously getting closer by the day. Maybe we're in fall. No. When does winter begin? I don't know.
After the fall. Right.
So we're about to be in fall. And you're going to want hoodies for fall, and I'm going to want a GameCat hoodie for fall. So I'll keep you posted. Phil Pepe, the GameCat 69 420. LOL, JK, WTF Brian with the $5 tip says, I prefer bad graphics over a delay because this looks fun. I already bought it, so I guess we'll see in a few hours when it launches in the US. Let's hope we get an update ASAP. Wonderful.
It's playable. It is. It's playable.
And then, let's get the last tip done, and then we'll get back right into the Hellsweeper conversation. The GameCat, formerly known as "Get in My Belly," LOL, GameCat Wilkins, get in my LOL, in LOL my belly. This is good. I really like this because somebody hates every time I say it, and so now we're just making it funnier. With the $20 tip, sends an emoji of a fan character sending hearts with their hands. Thank you so much, GameCat Wilkins, formerly known as. Yeah, dude, I like roguelites. I'm a big fan. I think I liked In Death. I like the persistence. I like Synapse. And it's fun playing a game that plays like Sairento, but it has adopted the roguelite formula. And this game has that feeling for me. But I only played for about 2 hours today and have not successfully completed a run yet, which I love because Synapse was just way too easy for me. And I've died a bunch of times on the boss. Sometimes I didn't even make it to the boss. So I love it because as soon as I die, I go, fuck man, I gotta try that again. It has that one more try, one more attempt. I gotta do this again. I know that I can do this. I died and it was my fault feeling about it. And so that means that I love the game. And so when it gets patched graphically, it's just going to be, kind of firing on all cylinders as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it'll be great. It's going to be great. I like that there's so much to learn with it, right? Like it's not big in terms of scope of the game, but there is a lot of nuance to the gameplay and kind of learning all the little things and all the different ways to play, all the ways to progress. I feel like even having played it a couple hours, there's still stuff that you haven't really put into practice that you can do right now, because there's just so much to learn with it. For example, I need to make more of a habit out of taking advantage mid-run of going to the shop and buying upgrades. I still haven't kind of worked that into my process when I'm working through the levels. Although I feel like it probably would be a big buff if I can somehow, because when you choose to do that, you're typically choosing not to take some kind of an upgrade or buff. And I always take the shiny thing first, right? And just grab the buff and don't go see what's on the other side of the wall. That's just one example. The other example is like doing the advanced tutorial. There are advanced movement options, but you can't unlock those until you do the advanced tutorial. There's just a lot. There's a lot to the game. You mix the different types of stuff. Like there's magic, there's weapons, there's melee weapons, there's projectile weapons, and you can mix and meld all this stuff in very unique ways. And this all takes time to kind of learn and kind of determine what kind of player you're going to be. So I feel like there's a lot of time that's going to go just into kind of establishing your identity in this game and learning all the stuff, which I love.
Yeah. It's so frequently in roguelites, this happened a lot in Until You Fall, actually. I would get to the gate and it would give you the 3 options, and I'd be like, I don't want any of these 3 options. Like, none of these appeal to me whatsoever. The only thing I ever wanted in Until You Fall was more health, because that was the thing I always was short on. Like, I can deal with any enemy as long as I've got enough health to, outlast him. And so that was the only thing I ever cared about. In some games like Synapse, and definitely what I'm seeing so far today in Hellsweeper, I care about all the upgrades. Here's you can. I love the way they've mapped things, where you can, you swipe down, you hold the trigger or the grip, and you swipe down or swipe up, whatever you want to do. You can map these things to swiping whatever way you want, and then you just kind of create a gun or create a sword out of thin air, or create a fireball out of thin air, depending on which way you swipe and depending on which magic you've chosen. And all of the upgrades so far have been like, well, I want that one and that one and that one. Instead of just saying, well, where's the one that I want? I'm actually excited about every single upgrade that they're offering me. And I find that so uncommon in roguelites that that's probably one of the big reasons I keep wanting to come back to this.
Yeah, and there's so many buffs. Like, there's so many buffs, and they don't just push it on you. Like, you have endless choices in this game. Like, whenever you get an upgrade, you're typically picking from 3 upgrades, and what that'll be is like, all right, so choose a magic upgrade, choose a melee upgrade, choose a gun upgrade. So you decide you want to go with gun. Okay, so you chose the gun upgrade. Choose this gun upgrade or choose that gun upgrade. Like, there is a lot to the buffs in this game, and like any great roguelite, your success is going to be determined by your play style and how you kind of build your loadout through each run.
I put you on full screen because I was doing some investigation work here. Over in the chat, I see people talking about Housekeeping having a different release date on the PlayStation Store now. It's already out in Australia, so let's see what happens. Dude, I didn't even know there was a deluxe edition. There's a deluxe edition? Okay, over here.
That's sorry. It's at full resolution.
That's amazing. You pay $10 more and you can get it at 4K.
Right.
Yeah, over here in the States, I just double checked, and it still says there's a countdown that's counting down to midnight, I believe, 4 hours and 48 minutes. So 8, 9, 10, yeah, that checks out. So it does not seem like it's been delayed over here, but who knows? Who knows what's happening? Obviously, the word is out. People are already reviewing this thing and saying, hold on, like, it's a good game, but. And speaking of the butt part, ooh, I've got a few extra butts. I feel like this game doesn't reload every time I want to reload. There's a couple things in the control. While they're fixing the graphics, I would like them to also consider a couple of other things. The gun doesn't seem to reload when I want it to, because all you do is you just kind of flick it to the side, and it should reload. And like when you're in the heat of a battle or you're fighting a boss, and you just flick it and you're not listening, you're not paying attention, you're just like wanting it to reload and you're ready to shoot again, and it doesn't because it didn't actually reload. Man, that blows. That really blows. And then every so often when I've got the sword mapped to when I swipe up, and I've got the gun mapped to when I swipe down, and every so often I'll swipe down or up and get the wrong weapon. And it's like, so there's some motion type controls that are mapped in here that I feel like either aren't sensitive enough or too sensitive or something. So I think there's, and I can't throw. How do you, Wes, did you learn to throw things in this game properly?
I can throw the sword all right. Typically, most of the stuff I'm throwing is stuff that I levitate first, and that works pretty well. Okay. Like if you just levitate something and kind of push it out, it flies away from you. Probably 8 times out of 10. Of course, there is some weirdness, and it doesn't always work. I had the same problem with the choosing the wrong weapon. Although in my mind, it was always like user error. I wasn't really considering that maybe the game was doing something wrong. I thought I was just, in the heat of things, maybe I swiped the wrong direction and accidentally produced a sword instead of my gun. But I do like that gesture-based weapon selection. I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah,
and it feels pretty good.
It does feel pretty good. So hopefully, a few little things could hopefully things can kind of work themselves out a little bit. Developers can kind of polish it up a little, because it does feel good, and you just want it to always work. That's the deal. So anyway, so another PSVR2 launch that didn't go quite the way we wanted it to. However, I do have complete confidence, that Mixed Realms will fix this. I really, really hope we get a statement soon regarding this. Hopefully they'll tell us what the plan is, how long it's going to take, because this is a game a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. And there's no reason that the PSVR2 version shouldn't be the definitive version of the game. And I mean, do you have any speculation on this, Wes? Why this video is just me trying to throw shit at the boss and failing over and over. That's what you got to do with the boss. You got to throw shit to take the shield down. And I was like, and I just kept missing wildly.
I did the same thing. And I don't think it's because of the throwing mechanic. I just think that scene is so chaotic. There's so much stuff trying to kill you. You can't really set and throw. You're trying to run and dodge and throw. And it's just hard, man. Yeah. It's just hard to do.
Virtual Authority Australia, hey, with the $5 tip, says, bit sad. I was looking forward to Hellsweeper. Oh well. No Man's Sky is basically taking up all my VR time now anyway. Best $8 I've ever spent. That is probably an understatement. Jake, is this Peterson with the Australian $3 tip, says, love you after the fall for PSVR1 to crossplay. That might take me a little while to decipher. Love you after the fall for PSVR 1 to 2 crossplay. 1 to 2. PSVR 1 to 2 crossplay. He likes to crossplay after the fall.
Right, he loves after the fall because of the crossplay.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, After the Fall was a game that totally launched in a fucking terrible state on day one, and within just a couple of days they really fixed a lot of things. So I don't know. I want to know how long this is going to take, because obviously Green Hell, we're still waiting for those patches. It's
indeed.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You got anything else to say about Hellsweeper?
It's good. It's fun. I still would rather play it than No Man's Sky, even in its current state. So graphics aren't everything. But I would much rather tell people to just don't buy it than then get their pitchforks out and burn down mixed realms because of it. Just don't buy it. Have patience and wait, or go play it somewhere else.
Yep. PHRF with the 12 plantain says no foveated rendering in Unity. Wouldn't expect a patch. We don't need foveated rendering for this thing to look better. Like, we just need it to look better. We just need a higher resolution. They just need to optimize this thing. But also, I wouldn't believe everything you hear. None of what you hear, and only half of what you see, because we hear varying reports on this Unity thing daily. We talk to developers all the time who are like, yeah, it's a fucking Switch. You flip it. So, moving on. Also, by the way, I guess the last thing I want to say about Hellsweeper is that, as Wes already said, if you already bought it, if you pre-ordered it, like, it's not the end of the world, because as Wes said, 2 stages in, I was way too busy focusing on all the enemies and what I was doing, and just did not at all pay attention to the resolution. Like, it just, for the most part, played fine, and it was really fun.
Yeah,
and I think you're just not going to notice.
Honestly, by the time I had played it, we played through probably 3 levels. I was wondering to myself, okay, was it just that the early areas look bad,
right,
and maybe the levels don't look so bad? And then I started, really paying attention. Like, oh no, it's still here. I'm just getting used to it. So you do get used to it.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. It's just not as good as it should be.
What's funny is I think the resolution problem is worse than Green Hell's, because I didn't think Green Hell was all that bad. I was like, yeah, it's not as sharp as it could be. But this is like, oof, this looks like a PSVR1 game. But I got acclimated to this way faster than I did Green Hell. Probably because you're running around and doing backflips and all crazy moves and shit, and you're just, just trying not to die. Green Hell is a lot more slow paced plotting, and so you have a lot more time to soak in the scenery and notice.
Plus, Green Hell had that bad problem with draw distance when you had things popping in and out constantly, and you don't have that here. It's just all bad all the time.
All the time. Josh Zosky with the $5 tip says, I still want Mixed Realms to port the PC VR version of Sairento to PSVR2 more than anything. One of my favorites ever. Also, thanks for the hard work, Brian. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you. It sounded like at some point that the Sairento for PSVR2 would be in the cards, and being as popular of a game as it is, I would be shocked if they didn't either port it over themselves or have a port studio do it. I just think all this is taking longer than any of us expected to happen. I thought by now we would have 3 times as many PSVR1 games as we've got. It's just taking a lot longer than most people expected.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation for these devs, man, especially these smaller teams that are, just barely making ends meet. Because let's be honest, like, there aren't that many headsets to sell your games to right now on PlayStation VR2. It's a new platform, right? There are more Steam VR headsets out there, which is crazy. But with that said, in addition to that, I mean, a lot of people expect these upgrades for free, even on top of that. So at the best case scenario is that you're going to charge $5 or $10 for your port and sell to a limited platform that doesn't have very many users yet. So on one hand, you would have expected it from the consumer side because that's what we want. But from the supply side, it kind of makes sense that it's not the top of their priority list to do that,
Right. If you focus on making your new game that nobody has, then you're going to sell it to every VR person out there, or you have the potential to sell it to every VR person. Meanwhile, if you focus on bringing your old game over, most people already have that. And so, yep. So the number of new VR gamers is really your target demographic on that, and that's small. I got 2 more tips here, I think. Gabe the Babe. Nice. Gabe the Babe 12. I guess there was already Gabe the Babe 1 through 11. With the $5 tip says, just FYI, Sony's policy is to refund pre-orders that haven't been downloaded, just in case anyone has auto downloads turned off and pre-ordered. Yeah, that's the easiest way to get a refund is make sure you don't download the game. Definitely don't start the game. But I've definitely heard of people who are way more convincing than I am and will spend time on the phone with the Sony hotline and try to get a refund, even if they've started the game. Some people have some people have I'm so lost. I'm at a loss for words, Wes, right now. Because because the next tip is just so distracting. I can't even finish my thoughts on this.
Agreed.
Blazing Phoenix 82 with the $5 tip says, "My wife called and I didn't get Wes's channel. What's your channel, Wes?"
By the way, I'll point out, not only did he get my name wrong the first time and then apologize for that by asking me what my channel is, he's misspelling my name.
Oh, is this the same dude?
Yeah, my channel is Virtual Strangers. It's linked in the description down below. Thank you for your generous donations. And thank you for your curiosity about my channel. That's awesome.
Right. Oh, man, I just made $5 because somebody didn't realize you can rewind the live stream.
Or scroll down.
Right. Oh man, good times. All right, you guys. Hopefully, with today being a little bit bittersweet, more bitter than sweet. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed being here and we take a little bit of the edge off. You guys certainly helped take the edge off of my day, so thank you very much. Wes, are you down for a little bit of 20 questions before we call this day a day?
Well, sure, Brian. I'm always down for a good match. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, then real quick here, I'm just going to make sure that I don't AJ the fuck out of this, and I'm going to bring up the game on my screen because I've already picked it out. I picked it out so long ago. It was so long ago.
So long.
Hold on a second. Real quick. Okay. Everybody in the chat, make sure you help out because this game is not as easy as it seems. You guys in the chat and Wes over there has only 6 minutes and only 20 yes or no questions to figure out what PSVR 1 or 2 game I'm thinking of. You ready?
I am ready, Brian.
All right, on your mark, get Des. Go.
Is this game announced or launched on PlayStation VR2?
No.
Okay, so this is a PSVR 1 only game. Was this game mentioned during today's GAMESCAST?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I see. Was this game developed by Mixed Realms?
No.
No. So
Oh, you thought I was going to play softball with you.
Yeah. So what did we talk about today? I don't feel like we talked about a lot of games today.
Nope, we sure didn't.
Nobody's talked about Fruit Ninja, AJ. Come on now. What did we talk about today? We talked about Project Louisiana, but that's not out yet. Is this game a shooter, Brian?
Nope.
Well, so it's not Crisis Brigade. And can't be Telefrag either. Ruins of Magus didn't come out on PSVR 1, did it? I don't think it did. Did it? No, it didn't. Yeah, maybe. No, it's not. It's not Sairento. I guess I should ask some other questions. Is this game exclusive to PSVR 1?
Nope, that's 5.
Okay. So it's not a shooter and it's not exclusive. It's a cross-platform game. Not on PSVR 2, not announced for PSVR 2. Can't be After the Fall because After the Fall is a shooter. I mean, Saints and Sinners, I guess, but I mean, that's kind of a shooter too. But is it a zombie game, Brian?
Nope.
No, it's not. It's not Saints and Sinners. Well, wait a minute. Is it? I want to say. Okay. Is it an archery game, Brian?
Nope.
No. So it's not in death. So you didn't make me specify shooter, so I had to burn another question on that.
I didn't make you specify. I thought I was giving you a freebie, but just by like canceling them all out.
All right. What's up, people? What the hell? What did he talk about that we speak on? That he didn't say anything about the persistence, did he? Was I not paying attention? Is it a horror game, Brian?
Nope.
Is it playable flat?
No.
No. Okay, so there you go. Is it a puzzle game?
Nope. That's 10.
All right, so it's not a puzzle game. It's not a shooter. It's not a zombie game. Is it from a known IP?
Nope.
Not from a known IP. Holy crap. What did we talk about today, ladies and gents? Wow. Yeah, no, Walkabout's not on PSVR 1, so it can't be Walkabout. Let's see, what were the GameCat meetup games? It was Alvo's a shooter. It's not Walkabout, because Walkabout's not on PSVR 1. What was the third one?
Crisis
Alvo,
Brigade.
Walkabout, which is also a shooter. That's right. So it's not any of those. Melee game. Did we talk? Is it a melee game, Brian?
No. No.
Not a melee game.
No. Saying yes would throw you off. I maybe somebody could call it that, but I would say no.
It's not a horror game, Phil. So I did ask that, right? It's not a horror game.
You already asked. Not a horror. Not flat screen compatible. By the way, you've only got a minute and a half and 8 more questions total.
Hey, is it a rhythm game?
Nope.
Is it a sports game?
Yep.
So it is a sports game. Is it a golf game?
Nope. That's 15.
Is it ping pong?
Nope.
No.
Getting closer.
Is it a sport that you can play in real life?
No.
No. Okay. Is this game still available to be played? Can you buy it and play it right now?
Nope.
Is this game Spark, Brian?
Launching in the year of our Lord 2017, it is in fact by CCP Spark, which I purposefully threw in during our Broken Edge discussion only for the sake of 20 questions later on.
I didn't even hear you say it. Like, I had no idea that you mentioned Spark during this episode.
Yep. That's
what you get, man.
It's the most I've ever planned ahead.
Play tricks on me. You try to play tricks on me, and it still doesn't work, Brian.
Dude,
I want you to get
it
out there.
I want you to get the answer. I'm on your side, Wes.
Of course, it was Looper that tipped me off, and I would have never picked it if I weren't running out of time. But amazing. Yeah, we did it. Thank you.
Amazing. Pietrek F with the 12 plantains saying Madison and Vertigo 2 also on Unity, and I will tell you right now, I guarantee those games are going to look better than Hellsweeper on launch. But don't pre-order, because just because I guarantee something doesn't make it true. It's just me saying words that don't matter. Alejandro 2, Catalergic Gamecat with the $2 tip, said iOS getting RE4 and RE8 might be a VR in the headset. iOS, huh?
That's what I heard. I don't think so, but for all intents and purposes, like this does not seem like it's going to be a VR gaming platform. They don't even want to call it VR at all. So I don't see them like turning it into a VR gaming platform, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it is a $3,500 fucking headset. You should be able to play VR games on it, but We'll see.
The gamer formerly known as Get In My Belly, LOL, My Belly Wilkins. Get in, I'm going to screw it up every time. Get in, LOL, My Belly, Gamecat Wilkins. I suck at this. With a $20 tip says, love you guys. Fantastic show as always. And what a positive note to go out on. Guys,
agreed.
If you don't already subscribe to Wes over it, God, what's that channel called? Oh, hold on a second. My wife's calling.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Yeah.
Subscribe to Wes over at Virtual Strangers by clicking the link in the description below. Also, come join us over on Discord by clicking the link. Guess what? In the description below. We make it as easy as possible on you guys. Thanks, everybody. Helps this channel run, including Rypop, who puts us up on podcast services of your choice. Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry, who puts timestamps into this thing after the fact. Me, for deleting all of the ads in about 2 hours from now. Sorry for anybody who watches between now and then. Also, everybody who supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames and right here on YouTube by being a member. By tipping in the chat. We appreciate it so very much. Paying for pizza, keeping the lights on, keeping the channel running. It means the world. Also, everyone who hangs out and shoots the shit, keeps us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. You do a great job. Most of you. There's a couple of you lesser of a job. Most of you do a good job. But then there's a bunch of people out there who sit back, watch the show, and don't say a goddamn word. And we love you just as much.
We do.
Happy Wednesday, Wes.
Happy Wednesday, Brian. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'll see you soon. Hopefully.
You know what I forgot, Wes? I forgot that we like to go back in time every so often and see what the thumbnail was a couple years ago on this date. So let's see. Today's September 20th. I'm scrolling through all my thumbnails. Scroll.
It's funny, Brian. Like a year or two from now, when we're looking back at this era, we're going to think, man, was it really that bad? Everything sucked back then. Sairento or Hellsweeper was bad, and Firewall sucked, and Green Hell was terrible, and Crossfire was a mess. Like, Hubris, Synapse.
You'll be happy to know that on September 20th, 2021, we got the word. The Zero Caliber is back.
Oh, it is back, Brian. It's not here yet, but it's back.
Oh,
like they went to launch Gambit, and it was like they couldn't get Gambit to work, so they just stopped.
What?
Supporting Gambit? Like friggin' 6 weeks into it, like they just quit promoting it. They quit saying anything about it, and they went back to work on Zero Caliber, and now Zero Caliber is like this amazing game, but it's still not here. They've got this amazing game on both Steam and Quest, with a ton of game modes and full crossplay compatibility, and it's still not on PlayStation platforms.
So
amazing.
So do they just say, man, making games is hard, and then halfway through just stop sometimes? Is that what? Who is this? This is X-Real Games, right? Like, man.
Yeah, it seems that way, man. Like Gambit, for what it's worth, it reviewed poorly, but it's a fun game. It wasn't what a lot of people wanted it to be. I mean, it was that same case of like, it was a bit arcadey and one dimensional, but it was fun to play. It was broken on Steam. Like it crashed. Even after their updates, it crashed. And it got bad reviews and nobody bought it. They reduced the price and still nobody bought it.
Wow. And
then they just stopped talking about it and switched right back over to Zero Caliber again.
That's crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy. Just a side note, the other topic on this thumbnail is voice recognition. Immersive or gimmick? Which is funny because here we are 2 years later, and I feel like I still don't know the answer to that question, especially since Phasmophobia is launching without voice recognition. So there you have it.
Oh, I played again. I played some voice recognition. I played some Phasmophobia recently, and while the voice recognition is certainly part of the game, it's not an integral part of the game.
Yeah.
It's something that you use occasionally, but it is certainly not necessary. And I wouldn't be completely upset about it not being there. Like, it's a cool thing. It's a gimmick, and the game should play, or at least from my limited experience with it, it wasn't a big part of what I did in there.
Yeah. I've watched plenty of Let's Plays. All the voice stuff was demonstrated to me after the outrage of Kinetic Games announcing that it wouldn't have it on PlayStation 5 at launch or PSVR2 at launch. And I was shocked to see how simple it was. It was like, oh, you pick up the voice box and you just select it from the menu instead. It's all the items still function exactly the same.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah,
it is cool. Like you go and you get the voice box and you ask it questions and it speaks back to you. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There are other uses too, where like you can use the monkey paw to revive your partner after they get killed, and you have to wish for life or something out loud. Like, I wish for life. There's a few different things you can use the monkey paw to wish for out loud. But again, it's a peripheral thing. It's not like a core gameplay mechanic.
Right. Same with the Ouija board. I saw a bunch of uses, but and I do want it. I do want it. Like, I don't want to make anyone seem like, oh, like whatever, it's stupid and doesn't have to be there. I definitely want it, but obviously, there's going to be some hiccups trying to get it in, apparently. So, still excited for Phasmophobia, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Voice recognition, immersive or gimmick, nobody cares. What the fuck, Hellsweeper is today's topic. In the last tip of the day, Blazing Phoenix 82 with a $10 tip says, "You got a new subscriber, Wes. LOL. Love your content, Brian.
Nice.
And all of your guests."
Thank you.
It took a little while, but he did it. We made it. We made it, Wes.
We just crossed 3,300, Brian. We just crossed.
Hell yeah.
We've had a lot of subscribers this week. Something fishy's going on, Brian. Like, I've had a video pop off lately with unnaturally high numbers for my channel.
Yeah.
Like, our game of the month from August is just growing by thousands every day. And
what?
I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening with it.
Interesting.
I'm starting to get suspicious of it. Like, because Crossfire won, spoiler alert, Crossfire won on 2 platforms.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think maybe the Crossfire people like sponsored the video somewhere, or put it up somewhere, because it's nuts, man. Like,
interesting.
We're at 22 some thousand, and like 5,000 views is a good video for us. For us to be in the 20,000s is just nuts. But it's popping off, and I love it.
Do you? But you've been seeing subscriber increase from that too, right? Yeah. So maybe, dude, maybe it's just some videos just hit the algorithm, and it's what people are looking for. So that would be my guess before anything else. But I like your conspiracy theory.
I'll take it either way, man. I'll take it either way. The sub numbers growing, the view numbers growing, and our views in general have been up over the last few months. Our definition of what is a video doing well has probably tripled over the last 3 months. So
wow, that's amazing.
We're doing all right.
Amazing. Yeah. Meanwhile, our numbers just keep going down and down and down.
It's fucking Mixed Realms' fault and Incubo's fault and First Contact. Screw those guys.
Screw those guys.
We love you all.
We do indeed. And we love you all in the chat. Thank you. 356 of you that sat around after the show to hear this conversation. But it's time to get out of here. Have a great night, everybody. We love you all.